There is nothing important in this story. You don't need to listen carefully. Even if your mind wanders, it is perfectly fine. You are safe to relax. You are allowed to rest. Take a slow breath in and let it go gently. Another slow breath in and out. Nothing is required from you. You do not need to imagine perfectly. You do not need to remember anything. This story will move slowly, like a quiet clock ticking in another room, barely noticeable, easy to ignore, far away from busy roads, far away from loud places. There exists a very calm land. It is not an important land. Nothing famous ever happened there. No great kings are remembered. No great battles were ever fought. It is a place where days pass quietly, and nights pass even more quietly. In this land there is a small village. The village is not large. It does not grow quickly. It does not change much. The houses are simple, made of old wood and pale stone. The roofs are slightly uneven. Some tiles are darker than others, not because anyone planned it, but because time made it so. The village wakes slowly every morning, and it sleeps early every night. Right now, it is early evening. The sky is not bright. It is not dark either. It is that soft moment in between, when the light feels tired. A gentle breeze moves through the village, not strong enough to be felt clearly, just strong enough to move the air. You do not need to picture everything clearly. You can let the details fade in and out. At the edge of the village, there is a narrow dirt path. The path has been walked on for many years. So many feet, so many slow footsteps, that the ground has become smooth. This path leads to a very small cottage. The cottage is old. Older than most people remember. It has one door, one small window, and nothing else worth mentioning. No decorations, no bright colors, just quiet usefulness. Inside this cottage lives one person. There is nothing special about this person. That is what makes the story safe. He's not a hero. He's not important. He's not in a hurry. He wakes up when the light comes and sleeps when the dark arrives. Right now, he's sitting outside his cottage. He sits on a low wooden bench. The bench creaks softly, not because it is broken, but because it is old. His posture is relaxed. His shoulders are slightly slouched, not from sadness, just from habit. His hands rest loosely on his knees. They are still. His breathing is slow, steady, unremarkable. Nothing hurts. Nothing excites him. The air around him feels calm. A few birds sit quietly on a nearby fence. They are not singing loudly, they are simply present, somewhere far away. A dog shifts in its sleep, closer by. The grass moves gently. Time moves slowly here. It does not rush. The man looks at the ground in front of him, not thinking about much. His mind drifts. And that is perfectly fine. He remembers nothing important. He plans nothing urgent. Sometimes a thought appears, and then it fades away like a ripple in still water. The light in the sky continues to soften. Colors become less clear. Edges become less sharp. The cottage behind him feels warm, not hot, just gently warm. Inside the cottage, there is very little. A simple bed, a small table, a chair, nothing more. Everything has its place, and everything stays there. The man stands up slowly, not because he must, but because it feels like the right time. His movements are unhurried. Each step is easy. He opens the door. The door makes a soft sound inside. The air smells faintly of wood and dust, a familiar smell. He lights a small lamp. The flame is calm. It does not flicker much. The light fills the room slowly, as if it does not want to disturb anything. He sits on the bed. The bed does not complain. It accepts his weight quietly. He removes his shoes, places them side by side. Everything is slow, everything is gentle outside. The village grows quieter. No loud voices, no sudden sounds, just the slow settling of the evening. The man lies down, his body relaxes naturally, as if it knows what to do. The lamp continues to glow softly. Then, after some time, he turns it off. Darkness enters the room, not suddenly, but politely. The window lets in a little moonlight, just enough. The man closes his eyes. His breathing deepens slightly. Nothing needs to happen next. And as this quiet village rests, as the cottage stands silently, as the night stretches gently across the land, this story will continue, slowly, calmly, without effort. The night itself will begin to unfold, with nothing important to do and nowhere to go. For now, you can simply rest and let your thoughts drift exactly as they are. The night has now settled fully over the small village. It did not arrive suddenly. It came the way night always does here, slowly, patiently. The sky above the village is deep and wide. There are no bright city lights, no glowing signs. Only a calm darkness, with a few stars scattered quietly. They are not sharp, they are not demanding, they simply exist. The moon hangs comfortably in the sky, not too bright, not too dim. Its light rests gently on the rooftops, on the dirt paths, on the quiet fields beyond the village. Nothing moves quickly. Inside the small cottage at the edge of the village, the man remains asleep. His body is still. His breathing is slow and steady. Each breath arrives, each breath leaves, without effort. The room is quiet. The walls do not speak. The floor does not creak. Even the air feels settled. Outside the cottage, the breeze has softened even more. It moves through the tall grass carefully, as if it does not want to disturb anything. Somewhere nearby, an insect makes a brief sound, then stops. Silence returns easily. Time here does not feel measured. There are no clocks ticking loudly, no reminders. The night stretches comfortably. In the distance, beyond the village, there are open fields. The fields are empty now. No work is being done. No voices are heard. They rest under the moonlight, wide, flat, unconcerned. Further still, there is a line of trees. The trees stand quietly together. Their leaves barely move. They have been standing there for many years. They are used to waiting. Nothing is expected from them. Back in the cottage, the man turns slightly in his sleep, not waking, just adjusting. The bed accepts the movement without sound. His thoughts are slow, unfocused, unimportant. Dreams come and go gently. They do not form clear pictures. They do not tell stories. They are more like soft impressions, fading before they fully appear. Outside, the moon continues its steady path. No one watches it closely. No one needs to. The village remains still. A small window in another house glows faintly. Someone else is awake, or perhaps just drifting. It does not matter. Everything here exists without needing attention. The dirt path leading through the village looks pale under the moonlight. Its surface is smooth from many years of use. It curves gently, never sharply. Even paths here do not rush. At the far end of the path, there is an old wooden fence. The fence leans slightly, not because it is broken, but because it is relaxed. It has stood this way for a long time. Beyond the fence, the land opens into quiet countryside. Nothing dramatic lies there, just gentle land, open sky, and time passing slowly. The night air is cool, but not cold, comfortable. the kind of air that allows the body to rest deeper. Back inside the cottage, the man's breathing becomes even slower. Each breath feels heavier, not in a bad way, but in a grounded way, like sinking gently into soft earth. His shoulders loosen, his jaw relaxes. There is no tension to hold. There is nothing to prepare for. The night does not demand anything from him. The world outside remains calm. Somewhere far away, a soft owl call echoes briefly, then fades. No response follows. The sound disappears into the dark. The stars above continue to hold their places. They do not flicker urgently. They do not signal anything. They simply remain. The moonlight shifts slightly as time moves forward unnoticed. Shadows move slowly along the walls of the cottage. Not enough to catch attention, just enough to show that time still exists, even when nothing is happening. The village sleeps together, not in unison, but in shared quiet. No alarms, no bells, just rest. The man's dreams thin out further. His mind floats between thoughts and nothingness. That space where awareness softens, that place where effort disappears. The night deepens, temperature remains steady, the air feels balanced, nothing changes suddenly. If you were standing outside the cottage now, you would hear almost nothing. Perhaps the faintest sound of breathing from inside, perhaps the gentle movement of grass, perhaps nothing at all, and that would be enough. Time passes, but it is not counted. The moon begins to move slightly lower in the sky, very slowly. So slowly, it is almost impossible to notice. The stars remain calm, the fields remain empty, the trees remain patient. Inside the cottage, the man remains asleep. His body knows exactly how to rest. There is no need to guide it. The night holds him quietly, and as everything continues, without urgency, without meaning, this calm night prepares to move forward, not toward action, but toward deeper stillness. The night has moved deeper now, not darker, just quieter. This is the part of the night when even the idea of time feels sleepy. The village remains exactly where it was, unchanged, unbothered. The moon is still present, but it no longer feels like the main thing in the sky. It is simply there, doing nothing in particular. Its light has softened even more. It rests lightly on the rooftops, on the paths, on the open land beyond. The fields outside the village look almost colourless now. Not because they are empty, but because the night has gently removed their details. Edges blur, shapes soften. Nothing demands attention. Inside the small cottage, the man continues to sleep. His body has settled into a deeper rest. His breathing is slow, even predictable. Each breath feels like it belongs exactly where it is. Nothing pulls him out of sleep. No sounds reach him clearly. The world has turned its volume down. The walls of the cottage feel thick and steady. They have protected this quiet for many years. They do not complain. They do not shift. They simply hold the space. Outside, the breeze has almost stopped. The tall grass barely moves now. If it does, it is so subtle that no one would notice unless they were already watching. And no one is watching. The village is not being observed. It is allowed to exist unnoticed. A small stone well near the center of the village sits silently. Its rope hangs still. Its bucket rests against the side. No water is drawn at this hour. The well does not mind. It has waited before. It will wait again. Nearby, a wooden door on another cottage creaks slightly. Not opening, just adjusting to the cool air. The sound is brief, soft, and then gone. Silence returns easily. The sky feels wider now. Stars seem farther apart. Not because they moved, but because the mind no longer tries to connect them. They are just points of light. Nothing more. Beyond the fields, the land stretches gently. There are no hills dramatic enough to interrupt the calm. The ground rises and falls slowly, as if it is resting too, somewhere in the distance. A stream continues to flow. It does not rush. It does not sparkle. It moves steadily, quietly, uninterested in being heard. Water slides over stones that have felt this same motion for decades. Neither the water nor the stones are concerned with progress. Back inside the cottage, the man shifts slightly again. A small movement of the hand, a deeper breath. His face remains relaxed. No expression forms. Sleep has smoothed everything. Thoughts have thinned into nothing more than gentle impressions. No story forms. No memory holds. Just a soft drifting. The bed supports him without effort. It does not squeak. It does not resist. Everything cooperates with rest. The air inside the room feels balanced, not warm, not cold, comfortable enough to forget. The moonlight through the small window has moved. It now touches a different part of the floor. A slow change, so slow, it feels like it has always been that way. Time continues, but it does not announce itself. The village clock, if it were checked, would show late hours. But no one checks. Time is not being measured here. The night has entered that quiet stretch where even animals are still. No birds call, no dogs move. Everything waits without knowing it is waiting. The trees beyond the fields stand quietly together. Their branches form dark shapes against the sky. They do not sway much. They are heavy with stillness. Leaves rest where they are. If one were to fall, it would do so without sound, and no one would notice. The ground would accept it easily. Inside the cottage, the man's breathing slows even further. Each breath feels deeper, lower in the body, the kind of breathing that belongs to complete rest. His mind drifts freely. There is no edge between thought and sleep now, just a soft blend. The night seems to stretch longer, not in minutes, but in feeling. It feels endless, and that feels safe. The moon continues its slow descent. Shadows stretch and shift again, still unnoticed. The fields remain pale and calm. The path through the village lies empty. No footsteps touch it. It remembers many, but demands none. The wooden fence at the edge of the land remains leaned, unfixed, unconcerned. It has found a position that feels right, and it stays there. The air cools slightly, just enough to feel refreshing, not enough to wake anyone. The stream in the distance continues its quiet movement. Stone, water, time, all working together without effort. The man inside the cottage sinks deeper. If a thought appears, it dissolves before becoming clear. If an image forms, it fades before taking shape. Nothing holds, nothing sticks. This is the part of the night where rest becomes complete, where even dreams lose interest. The sky begins to change, not visibly, but subtly. A hint of something lighter far away. Not dawn, not yet. Just the idea that morning exists somewhere in the future, but it is far, very far, and there is no need to think about it. The village remains held by night, protected by stillness. The cottage stands quietly, the man sleeps, and everything continues, without purpose, without urgency, without meaning, which is exactly how it should be. The night has reached its quietest point. This is the hour when even silence feels sleepy. Nothing new is happening, and nothing is expected to. The village rests inside this stillness as if wrapped in a soft blanket that has been used many times before. The sky above looks wide and empty. Stars remain, but they feel distant now. Not brighter, not dimmer, just there. The moon has lowered further. Its light has lost its sharpness. It spreads gently, as if it no longer wants attention. Shadows around the cottages soften, edges blur again. The world becomes simpler. Inside the small cottage, the man remains asleep. His body has found a position that requires no adjustment. There is no tension left in his shoulders, no tightness in his face. His breathing is slow and deep. Each breath enters, pauses, leaves, without effort, without thought. The room feels calm in a way that cannot be disturbed. The wooden floor does not creak. The walls remain still. The window holds the night quietly. Outside, the air has changed slightly. It is cooler now, but gently so. The kind of cool that feels clean, the kind that invites deeper rest. The grass near the cottages barely moves. It does not sway. It does not whisper. It simply stays. The path through the village looks pale and empty. No footsteps pass. No shadows cross. The path is allowed to be forgotten. A small wooden cart near one of the huts sits exactly where it was left. Its wheel leans slightly. It has leaned that way for years. No one thinks to fix it at this hour. No one needs it now. The cart does not mind. It waits without awareness. Near the well, the bucket rests quietly. The rope hangs loose. The well holds its dark water calmly. Nothing stirs its surface. The water does not reflect the stars clearly. It does not need to. It exists without display. Far beyond the village, the fields stretch out under the fading moonlight. Their shapes blend together. There is no clear line where one ends and another begins. Everything merges softly. The distant stream continues its slow movement. It does not sound like water anymore. It sounds like quiet itself. The stones beneath it remain unchanged. They accept the flow without reaction. Inside the cottage, the man's breathing shifts again. A deeper rhythm now, the kind that belongs to the most peaceful stage of sleep. His mind has fully let go. There are no clear dreams forming, just gentle drifting. The sense of being held, the sense of nothing being required. The bed supports him evenly. The blanket rests lightly. Nothing presses. Nothing pulls. The moonlight inside the room moves once more. It slides slowly across the floor, touches the leg of a wooden stool, then continues on. So slow it almost feels imagined. Time continues to pass, but it does so quietly, without sound, without announcement. The night begins its slow release. Not ending, just loosening. The sky at the far edge of the world begins to change, not with color yet, just with softness. A barely noticeable difference. The kind you only see if you are not looking for it. The stars feel a little farther away now. They do not blink. They simply remain. The trees beyond the fields stand silently. Their branches are still. Their leaves rest where they are. Nothing moves them. They are content in their stillness. A single bird somewhere shifts on a branch, not awake, just adjusting. No sound follows. Sleep continues uninterrupted. The village does not react. The cottages remain dark. No lights appear. No doors open. No signs of waking. The night holds everything gently. Inside the cottage, the man remains untouched by these subtle changes. His body stays relaxed. His breathing stays slow. His face shows no expression. Sleep has removed the need for one. Thoughts do not return. They have no place here. Only rest remains. The air in the room feels balanced. neither warm nor cold, comfortable enough to forget. The walls of the cottage feel solid. They have stood through many nights like this. They do not strain, they do not shift. They simply stand. The path outside remains empty. It remembers footsteps from long ago, but does not expect new ones. The fence at the edge of the field leans quietly. The posts are uneven. The wood is old, but it holds its shape. There is no urgency to repair it. The land beyond stretches quietly. The stream continues, the sky softens. The moon lowers further. Everything moves toward morning, but without hurry. Inside the cottage, the man sinks even deeper, breathing slower now, longer pauses between breaths, the kind of breathing that feels like floating. There is no awareness of time, no sense of direction, just stillness. The world outside grows slightly lighter, not brighter, just less dark. The change is so gentle it feels like the night itself is exhaling. The village accepts this change easily. Nothing resists, nothing reacts. Everything remains calm. The trees remain still. The fields remain quiet. The stream remains steady. The cottage remains peaceful. The man continues to sleep. This is the final stretch of night, the part that feels longest, the part where rest completes itself, where the body finishes repairing, where the mind releases its last grip. You do not need to stay with this story. You do not need to listen closely. You can let it fade, just like the night. The night is still present, but it has loosened its hold, not ending, not changing suddenly, just slowly becoming lighter, so slowly that it almost feels the same. The sky above the village has softened. There is no color yet, only a slightly thinner darkness. The stars remain, but they no longer feel sharp. They seem quieter now, as if they are stepping back. The moon rests low in the sky. Its light has faded into something mild. It no longer defines shapes clearly. It only suggests them. The village remains asleep. Every cottage holds its silence. No doors open, no windows glow. The paths remain empty. They are used to waiting. Inside the small wooden cottage, the man continues to sleep. His breathing has settled into a deep, steady rhythm. Each breath feels longer, slower, uninterrupted. His body feels heavy in a comfortable way, like it belongs exactly where it is. There is no urge to move, no reason to adjust. Sleep holds him gently. The wooden bed remains still beneath him. The blanket lies softly across his chest. Nothing presses, nothing pulls. The room feels calm in a way that has no edges. The walls do not feel close. The ceiling does not feel high. Everything feels balanced. Outside, the air shifts slightly again. Not colder, not warmer, just fresher. The kind of air that belongs to early morning, but without brightness. The fields beyond the village rest quietly. The ground feels settled, as if it has finished exhaling. The grass remains still. No breeze passes through it. The stream continues its slow movement. It sounds even quieter now, like it is moving without sound. The stones beneath the water do not move. They accept the flow as they always have. Near the edge of the village, a wooden fence stretches unevenly. Some posts lean, some stand straighter. None of them mind. They have held this position for a long time. They will hold it longer still. The dirt path looks pale now, not lit, just visible enough. It carries no footsteps. It asks for none. Inside the cottage, the man's face remains relaxed. There is no expression, no tension. Sleep has smoothed everything away. His mind is empty, not blank, just quiet. There are no thoughts forming, no memories rising, no plans appearing, only rest. The room breathes with him. slowly, softly. The light from outside shifts again, very gently. It touches the edge of the window frame, then rests, not moving further. Time continues to pass, but without importance. Minutes feel wide, stretched, unmeasured. The sky begins to thin slightly more. Still no color, just less darkness. The stars grow faint, not disappearing, just becoming irrelevant. The moon feels distant now, as if it has done its work. The village remains unchanged. No sound breaks the quiet. No animal stirs. No human wakes. Everything remains held in this calm pause. Inside the cottage, the man's breathing deepens again, a long inhale, a slow release, then stillness, the kind of stillness that feels complete. The bed creaks very softly once, then settles. The sound fades immediately. Nothing follows it. The walls remain steady. The floor remains quiet. The night continues to soften. Far away. Beyond the fields, beyond the trees. The idea of morning begins to exist, not as light, not as sound, only as a concept, a distant promise that does not hurry. The sky remains gentle, the air remains calm, the village remains asleep. The stream continues, the fields wait. Inside the cottage, the man drifts even deeper. Sleep feels wide now, like floating in a slow river. There is no direction, no movement, just support. His body feels warm, comfortable, safe. The blanket barely touches him. The room feels familiar, nothing surprises him, nothing changes. The outside world continues its slow shift. The sky lightens just a little more, still no color, just softness. The trees appear as gentle shapes. The roofs of the cottages look smooth, edges blur, everything blends together. The path through the village fades slightly, not disappearing, just resting. The well remains dark, the bucket remains still. The rope hangs loose, nothing stirs the water inside the cottage. The man remains asleep. There is no transition, no sudden change. Sleep continues naturally, the deepest part now, where time no longer exists, where awareness fades completely. The world could pause here, and it would feel complete. The sky continues to thin, the stars are almost gone. The moon rests low and quiet. The air feels fresh and empty. The village remains peaceful. Nothing rushes, nothing reacts, nothing demands attention. You do not need to hold on to this story. You do not need to follow it. You can let it drift away. Just like the night, just like the thoughts, just like the sense of time. The morning does not arrive suddenly. It does not announce itself. It does not push the night away. Instead, it simply becomes present, so gently that the village barely notices. The sky changes almost invisibly, not brighter, just lighter, as if someone has carefully thinned the darkness. The air feels open, quiet, unconcerned. The village remains asleep. Every roof rests in place. Every wall holds its stillness. No doors open, no windows shift. The paths remain untouched. Time feels wide, unhurried. Outside the small wooden cottage, the world pauses as if waiting for nothing. Inside the cottage, the man continues to sleep. His body feels settled, comfortably heavy. Breathing moves through him slowly, in and out. Each breath smooth and complete. There is no tension in his shoulders, no weight in his thoughts. Sleep holds him without effort. The wooden bed supports him quietly. The blanket remains exactly where it was. The room feels unchanged. The faint light from outside touches the wall softly. It does not spread. It does not grow. It simply exists. The sky continues its gentle shift. Still no color, just softness. The clouds, if there are any, remain unnoticed. They do not move quickly. They do not form shapes. They simply remain. The fields beyond the village look calm. The ground appears rested. The soil feels settled, as if it has already done enough for today. The stream moves quietly. Its sound blends into the silence, not noticeable, not distracting, just present. The wooden bridge across the stream rests, no footsteps cross it, no weight presses down. It holds the empty air patiently. Inside the cottage, the man's face remains peaceful, his eyes remain closed, his jaw relaxed, his brow smooth. Nothing pulls him toward waking, nothing disturbs his rest. Sleep feels deep now, wide, like a calm space with no edges. The air inside the room feels balanced, not warm, not cool, exactly right. The walls do not echo, the floor does not creak, everything remains still. The sky outside continues to soften. A faint suggestion of pale grey appears. Not light, just absence of darkness. The stars have disappeared quietly. The moon is no longer noticed. It has stepped away without ceremony. The village remains unchanged. No birds sing, no animals move. Even the idea of sound feels distant. The dirt path through the village looks lighter now, still empty, still calm, still waiting for nothing. The well stands quietly. The bucket remains motionless. The rope hangs loose. Nothing disturbs the water below. Inside the cottage, the man shifts slightly, not waking, just adjusting within sleep. The movement is slow, unimportant. His breathing continues evenly. The blanket settles again. Silence returns immediately. Time passes, but without markers. Minutes do not feel counted. The morning does not hurry. It does not promise activity. It does not ask for attention. It simply exists in the background. The light outside grows just a little more visible, still gentle, still soft. It touches the edge of the roof, then rests. The trees appear as calm shapes. Their branches do not move. Their leaves do not stir. They stand quietly, content to remain as they are. The fields stretch outward, flat, still, peaceful. The air carries no direction, no breeze, no pressure. Inside the cottage, sleep deepens further. The man's awareness fades completely. There are no thoughts, no dreams, no images, only rest. The kind of rest that feels like floating. The room feels distant. The body feels supported. Nothing requires effort. Nothing needs response. The morning remains gentle. It does not brighten quickly. It does not warm suddenly. It simply holds the world lightly, as if careful not to wake it. The village continues to rest. Every structure holds its place. Every space remains calm. The path remains empty. The bridge remains unused. The stream continues quietly. The sky remains pale and quiet inside the cottage. The man breathes slowly, in, out. Each breath feels complete, comfortable, unbroken. Sleep feels secure, uninterrupted. Time feels unimportant now. You do not need to follow the story. You do not need to imagine the details. You can let the words pass through you, like air, like distant sound, like something that does not need attention. The morning continues to exist quietly, not changing much, not demanding anything, just present. The village remains asleep. The cottage remains still. The man remains deeply at rest. Nothing begins yet, nothing ends. Everything remains suspended in calm. The morning is already present, but it does not feel active. It does not feel awake. It simply exists. The light outside the village has settled into a pale stillness, not bright, not dark, just enough to soften the shapes of things. The sky looks empty, not empty in a lonely way, empty in a calm way, as if nothing needs to appear there. The village remains quiet. The roofs hold their place. The walls stand without sound. The paths remain untouched. No footsteps arrive, no movement follows. The world feels paused, not stopped, just paused. Inside the small wooden cottage, the man continues to sleep. His body feels heavy now, comfortably heavy, as if the bed is gently holding him from below. His breathing remains slow, even, uninterrupted. There is no change in his expression, no tension, no effort. Sleep has settled deeply. The room around him feels distant, muted, soft. The light touches the wooden floor faintly. It does not travel far. It does not change the space. It simply rests where it lands. The air inside the room feels still. No draft, no movement, just quiet presence. Outside, the fields appear calm. The soil looks rested, as if it has nothing planned for the day. The grass stands without movement. The trees remain silent. Their branches do not shift. Their leaves do not respond to anything. They simply remain. The stream beyond the field continues to move quietly. Its sound is barely noticeable. It blends into the silence so completely that it almost disappears. The wooden bridge remains unused. No weight presses upon it. No footsteps disturb it. It waits without expectation. Inside the cottage, time feels unclear. Moments pass without shape. The man's breathing continues, in, out. Each breath steady, each breath unimportant. His body does not prepare to wake. There is no signal, no urgency. Sleep feels wide, like a space without edges. The morning outside remains soft. The light does not sharpen. It does not grow stronger. It simply stays, balanced, gentle. The village remains unchanged. No doors open, no windows shift, no signs of life appear. And yet it does not feel empty. It feels complete, as if nothing is missing, as if everything is exactly where it should be. Inside the cottage, the man turns slightly, not waking, just adjusting within rest. The movement is slow, almost unnoticed. The blanket settles again. The bed does not creak. Silence returns immediately. His breathing deepens slightly. Longer pauses between breaths, each pause comfortable, safe. The room remains still. The light remains soft. The walls remain quiet. Outside, the sky holds its pale tone. No clouds move quickly. No colors demand attention. Everything feels flattened, smoothed, gentle. The fields stretch outward calmly. The dirt path through the village remains empty. No direction feels important. No destination exists. The well stands quietly. The rope hangs loose. The bucket remains suspended. The water below remains undisturbed. Inside the cottage, sleep grows heavier. Thoughts fade completely. Awareness softens. The man does not dream. Or if he does, the dreams are faint, unclear, unimportant. There are no images to follow, no stories forming, just rest. Time feels distant now, not slow, not fast, just absent. The morning remains, but it does not lead anywhere. It does not announce tasks. It does not promise activity. It simply holds the world gently, as if careful not to disturb it. The village continues to rest. The structures remain steady. The ground remains firm. The air remains still. Nothing changes in a way that matters. Inside the cottage, the man's breathing becomes even slower. Each breath fills him completely, then leaves quietly. Nothing is forced, nothing is controlled. His body knows exactly how to rest. The light in the room feels softer now, not dimmer, just less noticeable. As if the room itself has relaxed. The edges of objects blur slightly. The bed, the floor, the walls, everything blends together. Outside, the stream continues. The bridge waits. The fields remain calm. The trees stand quietly. The sky remains pale. No sound interrupts the silence. Even silence feels gentle, supportive. You do not need to imagine the village. You do not need to follow the man. You do not need to listen closely. The words can fade. They can drift. They can disappear completely. Sleep does not require attention, it only requires permission, and you already have it. The man inside the cottage rests deeply now. His body feels fully supported, from below, from within. Nothing pulls him upward, nothing calls him awake. The morning remains incomplete, and that is what makes it peaceful. There is no beginning, no middle, no end, just continuation, stillness. The village remains untouched by urgency. The day remains unfinished. The world remains quiet. The breathing continues, slow, even, comfortable. You are free to let go, free to drift, free to sleep. Nothing important will happen next, and that is exactly why it is safe. The quiet continues. It does not restart. It does not change direction. It simply remains. The village is still resting in the same soft state as before. No signals appear, no sounds arrive. The air feels settled, like it has already chosen to stay calm for a long time. The sky above the village holds a pale, washed color. Not blue, not grey, just a soft tone that does not ask to be noticed. The light spreads evenly. It does not cast sharp shadows. It does not highlight anything important. It simply exists. The houses remain closed. Their wooden doors stay still. Their windows reflect nothing new. The stone walls feel cool and quiet. Nothing moves inside them. Nothing waits to happen. The paths between the houses remain empty. The dirt looks smooth, undisturbed, as if no one has walked there for a very long time, and maybe no one needs to. Beyond the village, the fields stretch outward. The grass does not sway. The crops do not bend. The soil rests calmly beneath everything. The land itself seems relaxed, as if it is breathing slowly. In the small cottage near the edge of the village, the man remains asleep. His body feels deeply settled now, the kind of rest where muscles forget they exist, where the weight of the body feels evenly spread, supported completely. His breathing is slow, gentle, unforced. Each breath moves in quietly, then leaves without effort. There is no tension in his face, no thoughts forming, no need to adjust. Sleep has taken full control. The room around him feels distant, as if it belongs to a different time. The wooden beams above do not demand attention. The floor remains quiet. The walls hold the silence carefully. Light enters the room softly. It does not reach far. It rests on the floor, on the edge of the bed, then stops, as if it knows not to disturb him. Time inside the cottage feels blurred. Minutes do not count. Hours do not matter. Everything feels stretched and smooth. There is no reason to track anything. Outside, the stream continues its quiet movement. The water flows slowly, without sound that stands out. Its presence blends into the stillness. The wooden bridge remains empty. No footsteps cross it. No weight presses down. It remains balanced, calm, patient. The trees nearby stand tall and unmoving. Their leaves do not rustle. Their branches do not shift. They appear frozen, but not stiff, relaxed, at ease. The air around them feels thick with quiet, not heavy, just calm. The sky does not change. The light does not grow stronger. It does not fade either. It remains in a gentle balance, as if time itself has decided to pause here. Inside the cottage, the man turns slightly, not awake, just a natural movement. His body adjusts deeper into rest. The blanket shifts softly, then becomes still again. Breathing continues, slow, steady, safe. There are no dreams pulling him upward, no thoughts drifting across his mind. If anything appears, it fades immediately. Sleep remains wide and open, like a soft, endless space. The village continues to exist without purpose, and that makes it peaceful. Nothing needs to happen here. Nothing needs to change. The well remains unused. The rope hangs loosely. The bucket rests quietly. The water below remains smooth, unbroken. The dirt paths stay empty. No voices appear. No animals move through the space. Even birds remain quiet, as if they have also decided to rest. The air holds a gentle stillness, a stillness that feels safe, comforting. Inside the cottage, the man's breathing grows slightly deeper. Longer pauses, gentler rhythm. His body feels warm, heavy, completely supported. The bed holds him without effort. The floor remains solid beneath. The walls stand quietly around him. Nothing presses inward, nothing pulls outward. Sleep has fully arrived. You do not need to imagine his face. You do not need to follow the village. You do not need to listen closely. The words are allowed to blur. They can slow down. They can fade into the background. Sleep does not need attention. It does not require focus. It arrives naturally when nothing is demanded. The sky outside remains unchanged. The light stays soft. The world remains paused. The fields rest. The trees stand quietly. The stream flows gently. The bridge waits. Everything feels complete as it is. Inside the cottage, the man remains still. His breathing continues in, out. Each breath calm, each breath unimportant. Time no longer feels real here. It stretches into something smooth, something without edges. Moments blend together. There is no before, no after, just now. And even now feels distant. The quiet deepens, suddenly, slowly, naturally, as if sinking into something soft. The village does not resist. The cottage does not react. The world accepts the stillness. You are free to drift, free to let the words pass, free to stop listening at any moment. Nothing will be missed. Nothing will change. Sleep will continue on its own. The man remains asleep. The morning remains unfinished. The quiet remains endless. And everything stays exactly where it should be. The quiet continues exactly as it was. Nothing restarts, nothing progresses, nothing expects attention. The village remains in the same calm position, like a picture that has been left alone for a long time. The sky does not brighten, it does not darken. It stays softly suspended without direction. The air feels gentle and still, as if it has decided not to move today. The houses remain unchanged. Their shapes are familiar but unimportant. Wood, stone, and time resting together. Doors remain closed, not locked, just closed. Windows reflect the same soft light. No movement appears behind them. No one looks out. The paths between the houses remain empty, smooth, quiet, as if footsteps have been forgotten. The ground does not shift. The dust does not rise. Everything stays settled. Beyond the houses, the fields stretch outward again, wide, flat, uninterested. The grass does not lean. The crops do not sway. The soil rests beneath everything, holding its shape without effort. The fields do not wait for anything. They simply exist. The stream continues its slow, quiet flow, not loud, not noticeable. It moves because it always has. The water does not rush. It does not sparkle. It passes under the small wooden bridge without changing anything. The bridge stands balanced and still. Boards resting in place, no creaks, no movement. The trees around the stream stand tall and quiet. Leaves remain still. Branches do not move. They appear relaxed, as if they are also resting. Inside the small cottage, the man remains asleep. His body feels heavier now, not uncomfortable, just deeply settled. The kind of heaviness that comes when nothing is holding you up anymore. The bed supports him completely. The blanket rests without pressure. His breathing remains slow and steady, in, out. No pause feels too long, no breath feels forced. His face is calm, expressionless, peaceful. There are no thoughts behind his closed eyes. If any appear, they dissolve immediately. Sleep stays wide and open. The room around him feels distant. The walls seem far away. The ceiling feels high. Sound does not travel here. Light barely touches the edges. Time inside the room feels stretched and loose. Moments no longer connect. Outside the cottage, nothing changes. The well remains unused. The rope hangs quietly. The bucket rests against the stone. The water below stays smooth and dark, unbroken. The dirt paths remain empty. No voices travel through the air. No animals cross the space. Even the smallest movement feels unnecessary. The air feels soft, not cold, not warm, just comfortable enough to forget about. The sky remains pale and quiet. Clouds do not move. Light does not shift. Everything stays gently balanced. Inside the cottage, the man turns slightly again. A small adjustment, not waking, just settling deeper. The mattress responds quietly, then becomes still again. Breathing continues, even slower now. Longer exhales, gentler rhythm. His body no longer holds tension. Shoulders rest, hands are relaxed, fingers slightly open, nothing clenched. Sleep feels complete, the kind of sleep that does not ask for anything. You do not need to imagine this clearly. You do not need to see the cottage. You do not need to remember the village. The words are allowed to fade. They can soften, they can blur. Your attention does not matter here. Sleep arrives even without listening. The world outside continues without purpose, and that makes it safe. Nothing needs to be done. Nothing needs to be solved. Nothing needs to end. The fields remain still. The stream flows quietly. The bridge waits without expectation. The trees stand calmly. The village remains unchanged. Inside the cottage, the man remains asleep. Time does not move forward. It spreads out, becomes smooth, becomes quiet. There is no urgency here, no signal, no transition, just the same calm moment repeating gently. The quiet deepens again, not suddenly, not noticeably. It simply settles a little more, like sinking into soft ground. The village does not resist, the cottage does not react, the world accepts stillness completely. Your mind is free to wander, or not wander, either is fine. You can listen, or stop listening. Nothing will change. Sleep does not depend on attention, it happens naturally when nothing is required. The sky remains the same. The light remains soft, the air remains calm. Inside the cottage, breathing continues, slow, easy, unimportant. The man does not dream, or if he does, the dreams are quiet, fading as soon as they appear. Sleep remains deep and wide. The quiet stretches on, without end, without direction, without meaning, and everything stays exactly where it is. The quiet remains, not deeper, not lighter, just the same calm quiet stretched gently across everything. The village does not change its position, it does not wake, it does not prepare for anything. It stays exactly as it is, resting in a moment that has no direction. The sky above remains pale and soft, not morning, not evening, just light enough to see without effort. The air feels still, as if it has forgotten how to move. No wind passes through the space, no sound travels far. The houses remain closed and patient. Their walls hold the same shape. Their roofs do not shift. Nothing inside them asks for attention. The paths between the houses stay empty, smooth, quiet, undisturbed. They do not lead anywhere important. They simply exist between places. Beyond the village, the fields stretch out again, wide and flat, uninterested in time. The grass does not lean, The soil does not change color. Everything feels settled. The stream continues its quiet movement, slow, even, predictable. The water passes over stones without sound, without urgency, without sparkle. The small bridge remains balanced above it, boards resting where they have always rested. No one crosses, no one waits. The trees near the water stand calmly. Their leaves do not rustle. Their branches do not sway. They feel heavy in a comfortable way, as if they are resting too. Inside the small cottage, the man remains asleep. Nothing has changed about him, and nothing needs to. His breathing remains slow, deep, effortless. Each breath seems to take its time. There is no hurry. His body feels warm and supported. The bed holds him gently. The blanket rests without pressure. No weight, just contact. His face remains relaxed, no expression, no tension. Sleep rests fully across him. The room feels dim and quiet. Shadows do not move. Light does not shift. The walls feel distant. The ceiling feels far away. The air inside the room is calm and still. No sound enters. No sound leaves. Time inside the room feels loose. Moments do not connect. There is no before. There is no after. Just this quiet stretch. Outside, the well remains untouched. The rope hangs loosely. The bucket rests where it was left. The water below remains smooth and dark. Nothing disturbs the surface. The ground around the well feels firm and quiet. No footsteps, no marks. The village square remains empty. Open space with nothing happening, nothing planned, nothing expected. The air there feels gentle and neutral, not warm, not cold, just comfortable enough to ignore. The sky remains unchanged. Clouds do not move. Light does not brighten or fade. Everything holds its position. Inside the cottage, the man shifts slightly, a small movement, barely noticeable, not waking, just settling deeper into rest. The mattress responds softly, then becomes still again. Breathing continues, slow, even, calm. His shoulders feel loose. His hands remain relaxed, fingers slightly open. Nothing held, nothing needed. Sleep feels complete, not heavy, not light, just present. There are no thoughts to follow. If any appear, they dissolve quietly, like mist, fading without effort. The room feels safe and distant. The village feels far away. Nothing reaches in, nothing pulls out. You do not need to picture anything clearly. You do not need to follow the story. The words can pass through gently, or fade completely. Sleep does not depend on attention. It arrives naturally when nothing is required. Outside, the fields remain quiet. The stream continues its slow movement. The bridge remains empty. The trees remain still. The village does not change. Inside the cottage, breathing continues. Long exhales, gentle inhales. No pauses feel uncomfortable. Everything feels balanced. Time stretches further, not longer, just softer. The quiet thickens slightly, not suddenly, not noticeably, just enough to feel deeper, like sinking into soft ground. Nothing asks to be remembered, nothing asks to be completed, nothing asks to end. The sky remains pale, the air remains still, the village remains calm. Inside the cottage, the man remains asleep, and that is enough. The quiet continues without purpose, without direction, without expectation. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to drift. You are allowed to stop listening. The story does not mind. The words do not mind. Sleep does not mind. Everything stays exactly as it is. The quiet continues without interruption. It does not deepen suddenly. It does not fade away. It simply stays. The village remains exactly where it was, unchanged, unconcerned, unaware of time. The sky above holds its pale color, Not bright, not dark. Just a gentle shade that never asks for attention. No clouds move, no birds pass, no shadows shift. The air feels still enough that you might forget it exists. The fields stretch outward, flat and endless. No lines, no patterns, just open space resting comfortably. The soil looks soft but firm. The grass does not sway, nothing bends. The stream continues its slow movement, water sliding past stones in a way that has happened forever. No ripples grow large, no sound rises. The bridge remains untouched. Its wooden boards lie quietly, supporting nothing. They do not creak, they do not respond, they simply exist. The trees near the water stand patiently. Their branches remain heavy and relaxed. Leaves hang without effort. Nothing falls, nothing grows. Inside the cottage, everything feels distant and safe. The walls feel thick and steady. They do not let anything in. They do not let anything out. The room stays dim and calm. Light rests softly along the edges. No corners feel sharp. The air inside feels warm enough to ignore. The man continues sleeping. His breathing stays slow and deep. Each inhale arrives naturally. Each exhale leaves without effort. Nothing interrupts the rhythm. His body feels completely supported. The bed holds him evenly. No pressure points, no discomfort, just stillness. His face remains calm. No expression needs to change. Sleep rests across him gently, like a blanket made of quiet. His shoulders stay loose, his jaw remains relaxed. Nothing tightens, nothing shifts. Time inside the cottage stretches gently. Moments do not stack, they drift. Outside, the village square remains empty. The ground there feels smooth and undisturbed. No footsteps approach, no voices echo. The space does not wait for anything. The well stands quietly at the edge. The rope hangs in a loose curve. The bucket remains untouched. The water below stays dark and still. Nothing breaks the surface. The houses remain closed. Doors do not open. Windows do not glow. They hold their shapes patiently. The paths between them stay clear and silent. They lead nowhere important. They simply exist between places. The air above the village feels balanced, not warm, not cold, comfortable enough to forget. Inside the cottage, the man's breathing continues, slow, even, steady. His chest rises slightly, then falls. Each breath feels complete, nothing extra, nothing missing. If thoughts appear, they drift away. They do not need attention. They do not need answers. They dissolve on their own, like mist, fading under soft light. The quiet grows softer, not deeper, more distant, more forgiving. The story does not move forward. It does not need to. It stays with you, not ahead of you. Outside, the fields remain unchanged. The stream keeps flowing slowly. The bridge stays empty. The trees remain still. Nothing prepares to happen. Nothing remembers what came before. Inside the cottage, sleep continues. Not heavy, not light, just present. The room feels farther away now. The edges soften. Sounds disappear completely. Even silence feels gentle. The man remains asleep without effort. His body knows how to rest. It does not need instruction. It does not need permission. The night or the day does not matter. Time feels optional. Minutes do not matter. Seconds lose shape. Everything settles into a calm that does not require awareness. The village exists like a memory you don't need to hold. The cottage feels safe and distant. The breathing remains slow and quiet. Nothing pulls you back. Nothing asks you to stay awake. You can drift. You can sink. You can stop listening entirely. The words can fade. The images can blur. Sleep does not depend on focus. It arrives gently when nothing is expected. The quiet stretches wider, not longer, just softer, like resting inside a pause. The sky remains pale. The air remains still. The village remains calm. Inside the cottage, the man sleeps on. And everything is exactly as it should be. Nothing changes, nothing needs to. The quiet remains. It does not announce itself. It does not deepen suddenly. It simply continues. The village still exists, but it feels farther away now, as if it has stepped back, as if it no longer needs to be noticed. The sky above holds the same pale color, but even that feels distant. Light no longer matters. Darkness no longer matters. There is only comfort. The fields stretch outward, but they no longer feel wide. They feel soft, undefined. The stream continues to move, but its sound is no longer clear. It blends into the background, like a memory you don't need to hold. The bridge remains empty. It always has been. It always will be. Nothing crosses it. Nothing waits near it. The trees stand quietly, but their shapes begin to blur. Leaves lose detail. Branches lose edges. Everything becomes gentle. Inside the cottage, the room feels smaller now, not tight, just calm. The walls feel warm and steady. The air feels still and supportive. The man continues to sleep. His breathing remains slow, deep, effortless. Each breath arrives exactly when it should. Each breath leaves without resistance. Nothing interrupts the rhythm. His body feels heavy in the best way, fully supported, fully relaxed. There is no tension anywhere. His shoulders are loose, his hands rest naturally, his face is calm and neutral. Sleep rests over him completely now, not lightly, not deeply, just fully. Time no longer moves in any noticeable way. It stretches, then dissolves. Moments stop lining up, they drift apart. The village outside fades further. The square feels distant, the well feels far away, the houses feel quiet beyond thought. Paths no longer lead anywhere, they simply disappear. The air itself becomes softer, almost unreal, as if it no longer needs to be noticed. Inside the cottage, even the room begins to fade. The corners blur, the edges soften, the sense of space becomes gentle and loose. The man's breathing continues, but even that begins to feel distant, as if it is happening far away, as if it no longer needs attention. Thoughts, if they appear, do not stay. They pass through, without shape, without meaning, without weight. They dissolve before forming. There is no need to follow them. There is no need to stop them. They simply fade. The story itself becomes quieter. The words slow down. The space between them grows wider. Nothing important remains. Nothing urgent exists. The village no longer asks to be seen. The cottage no longer asks to be imagined. Even the man sleeping becomes just a feeling, a sense of rest, a sense of safety, a sense of calm. Breathing continues somewhere, slow, steady, natural, but it does not demand awareness, it does not pull attention, it simply exists. Time loosens completely. There is no beginning, there is no ending, there is only rest. The sky no longer needs color, the ground no longer needs shape, the air no longer needs movement. Everything becomes simple, quiet, soft. The story no longer moves forward, it no longer stays still. It gently disappears, like a sound fading into silence, like a thought drifting away, like sleep arriving without being noticed. You don't need to stay here. You don't need to listen anymore. You don't need to hold on to anything. Your body already knows what to do. Your breathing already knows its rhythm. Your mind already knows how to let go. Nothing is expected from you. Nothing is required. Nothing is waiting. The quiet wraps around everything evenly. No sharp edges, no sudden changes, just a deep, comfortable stillness, the kind that holds you without effort, the kind that lets you sink without fear, the kind that does not wake you. The village is gone now, the cottage is gone, the man is gone. Only rest remains, only calm remains, only sleep remains. And even these words can fade now. You can drift, you can sink, you can disappear into rest. Everything is safe, everything is quiet, everything can finally sleep.